Welcome back to the Yoakum Strength Podcast. This week we have on Welty and Brian to cover all things hockey. Throughout the episode, they dive into experimenting and being guinea pigs for their own programming, on-ice versus off-ice training correlations, and building an environment that breeds competition. As always, thanks for listening and enjoy the episode.
Before we hit the intro music, I wanted to introduce to you guys the Yoakum Strength Insider. The Yoakum Strength Insider is our online training platform that takes all of the ideas that we talk about on this podcast and implements them into a program that is available to you at the touch of your fingers. Our goal with the Yoakum Strength Insider is to create better movers, to level up your life, and to move forward from where you are. We do this in a holistic fashion. Not only will you receive a program that has helped hundreds of people become better movers, you'll also receive access to our app that allows you to track everything, has video links for all exercises, and allows you to be in constant communication with a Yoakum Strength coach. Along with this, you'll get our 30-page PDF nutrition and lifestyle guidelines. That includes everything from what to eat, how much of it to eat, why we're eating it, meditation habits, and other lifestyle habits that we implement with our clients to really level up their lives. If you're interested in trying out one of these programs, use podcast 25 in the discount section right before you pay for 25% off your first program. Boom.
This is the Yoakum Strength Podcast. Take the leap down the rabbit hole with us as we interview elite level guests to unravel what high performance really is.
The day is here. The Welty podcast has finally arrived. Except, Welty, you've been on twice on the Meathead podcast, so it's really not your first one, but it is Brian's birthday party. So round of applause for Brian. Everybody clap. Yep. Great. How's your birthday been going?
Solid.
How old are you?
Golf this morning was terrible.
You guys went golfing already?
Yeah.
Oh, and it was terrible?
Well, I played well. Shot 40 on a par 27, so.
Yeah, but did you beat Welty? That's all that matters.
That's why.
Welty, you didn't let him win on his birthday? That's fucked up.
I paid for the golf. So
he did pay for the golf, so.
Okay. That's fair. How was game day this morning, Welty?
Great. I won every single game.
Did you actually?
Yeah, Umbi didn't pick very good teams. Me and Gabe were talking about it.
Bro, Umberto is one of the worst drafters in the world. It is actually wild.
Well, I was on his team. We played really well.
Wait, what? You were on his team?
I was on his team, but the teams were completely unfair.
Yeah, so every time he drafts, I'm like, Umberto, what are you doing? His first pick is always Dowdle. His second pick is always Lucy. It's like that's his first two, and then he builds it out from there.
Yeah, it was Lucy, Josh. Who else did we have? I think Umbi.
What game did you guys play?
We played volleyball and handball because Lily was complaining the whole time about playing ultimate. So
about ultimate. All right. Well, Brian, are you hopping on TRT now that you're 25? People need to know.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. All right. That's all we need to know.
The bench wasn't good enough. We need 4 plays. So,
well, the world needs to know what's happening at Velo right now, Welty. Well, what's going on there? I heard you guys are deep into a ISO rabbit hole right now. What's happening?
We're doing daily 5-minute ISOs. We're on week 2. Yeah, week 2. And yeah, that's really all we're into, I guess, from our own training. I guess we are doing other training on top of that. Brian, you probably can elaborate on more of the why we're doing it.
Brian, are you the reason they're doing the ISOs?
I volunteered us.
Yeah, Nate volunteered us. Zach Jungles.
Oh, yeah.
But so at IHT, his business partner, Jared Slater, has been getting into Jared Burton's work, Dr.
Yep.
Jared Burton. And he's got like this neuro course. So it's like some aspects of like posturology and then a lot of neurology. So he assesses you like standing, eyes closed, looking for like which shoulder is dropping is like my main thing that I've gotten out of it is like you're looking for one side of the body to be like sagging, basically lacking tonus, or one side to be like over tonus. And then we're just doing like specific isometrics to fix that. So the thought behind it is like the cerebellum, if you look at it in 2 halves, you have one side that's either overactive or underactive, and then through the isometrics, you're fixing the other side. So you're like either dumping electrons into the other side. I think that's how he explained it.
Yeah.
Is it like single-sided isometrics then?
What?
Is it like single-sided isometrics? Or how the fuck are you getting the other side?
Well, yeah, it started out as like
we were opposites.
Yeah, Nate would have like left tricep, and he'd be sitting here holding his tricep like this for 5 minutes, and I'd be right next to him like this for 5 minutes, and then
Did you guys kiss?
Glute bridge opposite. I mean, yeah, it was. I'm all right side, he's all left side. So,
and you notice a difference? Is it working?
Well, I had tendonitis in my left knee for like 2 years. Ran JKP by Tura. Obviously, that like got me back to being able to lift, sprint, jump, do everything. But like my quad's been like super underactive. Like I never get sore in my left quad. And then since we've started doing this, like I can actually feel it turn on, and definitely getting sore in my left quad.
So is the whole workout just isos for like an hour of every body part?
Yeah, so like today, I would say today was like way more upper body stuff.
Yeah.
At least what we've been doing this week so far. Like we were talking about earlier, we've been hammering like legs. We've done GHD, hamstring every day this week.
End searcher, quarter squat every day.
Squeeze your ass.
Squeeze your ass. It started off as squeeze whatever butt cheek is underactive. You squeeze that to the metronome. So like I was squeezing my right butt cheek at 60 beats per minute.
And you were just able to squeeze. I don't even know if I can squeeze just one butt cheek, and it worked.
Yeah, the best part of this is I went and did it in Planet Fitness last Friday. So I'm there in the Smith machine, holding the bar and just squeezing my right butt cheek with a metronome in my ear.
You're saying 60 times per minute. You're squeezing your butt cheek once a second for 5 minutes straight.
Yep.
And you got that left leg to fire.
And the left leg's firing now.
Dude, that'll be pretty sick. Like, do you how long are you guys running this for?
It's been two going on 2 full weeks.
And are you, Brian, are you still doing your traditional barbell stuff like on top of it? Or are you just committed to this program?
We're full on training on top of it.
Yeah, so I'm going to your gym in the morning, train where me and Brian are training, and then we're doing isos later in the day.
Damn.
So Welty's hitting triple sessions right now.
I just wrote this down. I wrote Welty 3 workouts in a day. I think that people need to know Welty's recovery protocol, because Welty, you're actually a fucking psychopath sometimes. You're one of the only people at the gym that goes hard at my gym in the morning at 6 a.m. I know you go hard with Brian, and when you were doing the Haas program, you would also just run a fucking straight up Haas program with giant sets and deadlifts. Like, how are you surviving this volume, Welty?
Goes home, fights fires.
Goes home, fights fires. I'll be honest. There's a lot. We need to get a pre-workout sponsorship or Ghost or something here. We went through so much pre-workout this summer. And
so you think it's a pre-workout flowing through the system that keeps you going?
Yes. That, and if I had to do like the isos by myself, I would probably not be doing them.
So at what point is it a total collapse? Like at what point do you just completely implode here?
Dude, I'm telling you, Welty doesn't break. Tristan, I'm telling you, this past when was it? When were you running Haas? Was it in last summer?
Spring.
Dude, that was the most psychotic. Like Tristan, he would go hard as fuck at like my gym. 4 hours later, I would go train with him, and I would die during our workout, and he would do the same exact like Haas program workout. And then he would go do something later in the day. He would run like 50 sprints. Like it's unbelievable. It doesn't make any sense. And then
I'm kind of trying to get into a little bit longer distance running now. So,
do you think it prepped you for the firefighting world?
Like, if I'm being honest, like all the training we've done at least in our department, it hasn't been that hard. There's never really been anything where I've been like, oh, this is really exhausting. Like, I can't do this. Like, none of it's been that. At least some of the training experience wise, like, there's been a couple fires that I've been in that are like, oh shit, this is actually scary. Like, I could die. Okay.
Are you the fittest firefighter bar none?
No, so at the station I'm at right now, we have actually 3 firefighters that also are like personal trainers, and one of them does CrossFit, and I would say he's pretty in shape. I don't know. He always says I'm in better shape than him, but like when Austin was driving to your gym this morning, I saw him. He was at his house, and he had the garage doors open. He's out on the fucking rower.
Just ripping it. It's 5 a.m.
Yep. And I was like, you're clearly, yeah, he's in shape.
Psycho. Well, yeah, this is something I want to break down with you guys. So answer this. Welty, you start, and then Brian, you take it from there. But one of the things I think that is cool about Velo is you guys expose yourself to a shitload of different programs, right? You guys have done a lot of Jake Turr stuff. You've done a lot of workhorse stuff. You've done a lot of Haas stuff. Now you're in isometrics. You're doing some of the Myo stuff before. Like you guys, obviously, Welty, you have a massive background in the Caldite stuff. What is the process of like putting yourself through all of these different programs and then grabbing pieces that work from it and like applying it to your athletes? Because like you guys are obviously experimenting with a lot of this stuff like on yourself. How do you guys take that and then apply it to like, okay, this part works, this part doesn't, without like having 7 million things for your athletes to do because you're drawing from so many programs?
I would say like one going off like how you feel, right? But like at the same time, knowing the athletes we have here, I don't think we will do 5-minute. These current 5-minute ISOs we have been doing, I don't think we'll do it with anyone in our gym because they'll complain the whole time. And me and Brian were talking about earlier, like our pros would kill us if we gave this to the pro guys. They would, and they probably wouldn't do it because they just want to play soccer tennis the whole time. But I would say like trying to find things, like you're always trying to grow. So trying to find what are things that you're feeling at work for yourself and understanding where your athletes are at and seeing what can maybe carry over to them.
Then I'd say kind of exactly what you just said. You kind of got to test it on yourself before you're just going to give it to somebody. And then you mentioned Mido, which for people who don't know is a 40-second overcoming isometric straight into 60 seconds of isokinetic movement. So it's 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up. It's like, for example, overcoming bench, and then I go dumbbell bench, 2 down, 2 up for 15 reps. So the thing with that was like, all right, if we want to give these guys 5 sets, we should probably know what 5 sets feels like. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't ever give somebody 5 sets after doing it. Like, it's insane. There's no point. I mean,
did you give Brett 5 sets?
No, 4. Okay. So 4 sets we've determined is like kind of the limit by doing it on ourselves. And then I'd say like 2 is the minimum. Yeah.
Well, that's a kind of a cool point you guys mentioned too, is like I think this is something that a lot of strength coaches I really do not think get, is like just because it works on paper or works in real life doesn't mean it's going to work with your athletes, because the athlete isn't in the weeds like you guys are or like we are. So we're like, there's so many cool things that I find, and even like things like Olympic lifts. Like I love Olympic lifts. I've got a ton of great results. I don't think Olympic lifts would work at my gym. Like, one, just spacing wise, and 2, with just like the culture and the certain type of athlete that you have at the gym, right? In the same way that you guys are talking about, like the isometrics, Brian, are working for you, right? Like they're working for the knee, and you wouldn't program them with your athletes because they wouldn't do them. So what is that process like of like trying to figure out, okay, this works, but we need to blend it in a way that it actually works with the athletes, not just because it works on paper and science wise?
I guess the approach is like, honestly, we talk about it just like before the session starts. Like in the sense of like, what are we doing? Like we have our general program, what we do weekly, right? Like Mondays, lower body in the summer, Mondays, lower body, Wednesdays, lower body, Thursdays, lower body, but there is an upper body thing in there, but it's mainly lower body. Tuesdays, upper body, Thursdays, recovery for those that show up. Those that don't show up just don't do recovery. But we'll make it we'll have a general consensus of what we need to get done, and kind of like you, Austin, how you have your template for your 6 a.m. workouts, kind of go off that and where we want to start and where we want to finish for the summer, I would say. Right?
Yeah. The other thing I'd add is like kind of knowing that a lot of your athletes are going to like different things. So like sometimes we might give the ISO option because there's some guys who just enjoy hard shit and we'll be like, oh yeah, let's go 5-minute ISOs. You're like, okay, well then you could go 5-minute ISOs and somebody else could go 30-second yielding ISOs with as much weight as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
I like
the
that
guys,
too.
like summer that will do like we do like auto regulation. We'll have like a number where we'll cut guys off at like it's a minimum, and the guys that want to try to stay up, like stay alive the longest, we'll say, will like mentally push themselves to exhaustion of like they'll do like 12 sets.
Or like, I mean, I'm a square one guy, so if anybody watching doesn't know what square one is, go check that out. But like guys will seek out like anything to get that vert up and stay within that 3% and keep going. So, and then some guys will just be like, oh, I dropped off. Cool. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
One of the cool things I think about like velocity too is you guys work with anywhere from like 12-year-old little shitheads that come and play spike ball with us at the end of the workout. And then in the mornings, you guys will have like the pros of the pros. And you guys have to like kind of adjust the training program and the culture and the philosophy based off who is coming in there. Whereas like when we come in like at Yoakum Strength, like all the athletes are much more, I mean, you have different levels of athletes, but they're much more like on a similar note. Whereas you guys have like, again, guys making millions of dollars on the ice and then little 12-year-olds that just need to like get stronger and go through. What is like some of the biggest misnomers of training some of these pro athletes where you're talking about how like, well, so you say this all the time where like a lot of times like the pro athletes just come in and they just want to play like soccer tennis the entire time and that's all they're doing. And like, how do you
Soccer.
how do you get them
like
right? How do you get them right? How do you push them to like continue to like grow because they are pro athletes while they're still getting their work in, while still making it enjoyable to like an athlete that has been training for 20 years. And then you have the 12-year-old that like they get way less say in their program because they just need to work out.
So yeah, like I would say like looking since I've started at Velo, the first summer it was like pain in the butt to get any of the pro guys to play a game. Like pulling teeth and nails. No, I don't want to do it. I just want to warm up and get into it, get out, kind of thing. Some guys would maybe play spike ball, and that was like a maybe, like a hard maybe, or occasionally like there'd be maybe only half the guys show up on a Friday because guys went to the cabin, and now like, oh yeah, I don't really want to warm up, but I'll play spike or whatever, and they'll play spike for like 10 minutes, and they'll just hop right into the lift. And now you have the complete opposite end where everyone wants to play soccer tennis. Or at the beginning of summer, it was 2-net spike ball, but then every pro got back and it became soccer tennis. Where it's like they play soccer tennis for a whole hour and a half, and then we have a whole hour workout still to do. And it's just like, okay, guys, we need to find an easier balance, which I'm almost glad they do play that much because like their sport itself is so much like grind, that if they came in and like had that same mentality in the gym of like, oh, I gotta go to work today, like I don't think they would enjoy it. And I think creating that environment and culture with that soccer tennis where like guys want to come to the gym now compared to like before, I don't think a lot of the guys like enjoyed coming to the gym, where now I feel like they do. Yeah, sometimes they don't like exactly what we have for the lift, but they understand like they need to do it. It is good for them. Because we have a couple guys that are coming up on year 20. I think
That's crazy.
Yeah, we have a couple guys. I think we have one player for sure. I think he'll hit 1,000 games in the NHL.
Oh my God. That's insane.
In the summer. So what's the average time frame that you actually have these people? I know it's not going to be full year round, and obviously during like an NHL season or even a high school season, travel season, they're not going to be coming in every day. But what's like, do you have 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, or how long do they come in?
So yeah, I'll talk first and then Brian can go. But so it kind of depends on where you're at, I guess, in the sense of what league you're in. So if we look at like our pro guys, we typically have our NHLers, which go from basically October now coming up soon till middle of June, depending on playoffs, right? So like you might have guys June are like when we talk on scheduling for pros, usually we can kind of say, hey, June
One is when we're probably going to have a lot more pro guys that are in the NHL, especially if they don't make deep in the playoffs. Why you have your AHL guys typically a very similar schedule, which is like the second of pro hockey. And then there's East Coast League, which is the third tier. There is more tiers on top of that, but like those are the main three. Um, 'Cause like for example, we have a couple East Coast League guys still currently here, and this is their last week. And he got done with his college season. He's been here since April. So like he's been here a really long time. Where we have some pro guys get done. I think who went really deep in playoffs. Remember Dilly?
Well, Dilly came back in July.
Yeah, Dilly. One of our guys came back in July, and he left end of August basically. So he wasn't even here. He was here for 5 weeks, 6 weeks maybe tops. So it's kind of seeing, yeah, it could be anywhere from 6 months to 4 weeks. Because I've had one player, not this summer, but last summer or the summer prior, where he was here for 4 weeks. He trained only for 4 weeks, and it was like, well, we're gonna try to get as much out of you as we can, and then you're gone.
Yeah, you also get guys who show up end of the season, and it's like, yeah, I had him 3 months, but his right shoulder couldn't be used for the first 8 weeks of the off season. So how do you rush that along in the last 4? Mm-hmm. Figure it out to get him back to his team and ready to go.
Do you guys have any say or input or do like online programming with them during the season, or is it mostly the teams kind of take care of all that and they're just trying to get game to game with how like violent and aggressive the nature of hockey is?
I would say like with our pro guys, I don't really have any like say on what they do. Like there might be some guys that might like talk to me like hey, what have you been doing in the gym? It's usually like the lower guys, like the East Coast League players that maybe they don't have a strength coach on the team. But usually if you're an AHL or NHL organization, you do have a coach. I wouldn't say at least any of our guys, they don't ask me for like workouts they should do during the season. Also, a lot of the coaches that I know from their organizations are pretty good. And it's just hard to program when it's 82 games and travel schedule. And it's like, it's football on ice. So it's like, now we'll go play 82 games of football throughout the year. It's a lot more. I would say it's just hard to play that.
And how do you guys define like what do you value when you're training these hockey players when it is football on ice for 82 games? Because like trying to train a football guy, if he had to play 82 games of football, dude, like you'd be so fucked. Like there's literally nothing you can really do to replicate the demands that they're gonna face on the field, especially when you get them for a shorter period of time as you get them. So like, what do you guys value when you're building out a program for these guys, and how do you send them off being like, okay, we did the best that we could possibly do for the situation that they're going to be put in?
I value like the speed aspect. This summer we did do a couple times on ice testing. I wish we would have done more of it, but I would have really liked to do more of that just to really show like, hey, we're getting faster on ice. I would say that depending on the player too, is like Brian alluded to, the shoulder guy we had a shoulder injury, is just getting him back to being able to even lift his arm over his head, because he just wasn't even there. Took him like, again, Brian said 8 weeks, and I think he maybe skated twice before he left.
Yeah.
I don't think he's playing right now.
Yeah, no. I'd say, and then like when they first come back to, the main focus is just being able to move. Like literally getting them back into deep ranges and like just being comfortable. I mean, down there I think we started this year with like 30-second yielding ISOs in range. And I mean, something as simple as that, they'll still get sore and still get a good stimulus just because they haven't been in those positions in so long.
Yeah, some guys like can't move at all. Some guys are like so stiff and beat up. It's crazy. Like you played hockey like this?
Some really good players in the NHL cannot move at all.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, that kind of leads into what I was going to ask you about, Welty, because the on ice stuff that you do is kind of cool. But like, what's the difference between on ice speed and off ice speed, and on ice ability to move and off ice ability to move? Like, do you see correlations there? Like, how are you replicating some of that stuff? How do you value some of that stuff? Like, is getting them faster on land going to help them get faster on ice just because of the stimulus here? Like, how do you think about these things when you're doing like on land work, like dry land work?
Yeah, so like with this is a topic I guess we talk about literally
This is a great question.
It is a conversation that gets brought up so many times throughout the summer, and I think that's why I really wanted to push for the on ice testing. With some logistical reasons, we weren't able to do as much as I would have liked. But when we did do it, at least with our college group, we didn't do it with our pro group. Is I would say like our top 5 guys off ice were our top 5 guys on ice for speed wise.
So it's a pretty good correlation.
I think if you like made the correlation, it would probably be like 0.8 or something.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I know like some stats that when I talked to Cal at the U, it was like a 96% correlation coefficient to their fastest guys on ice. Yeah. It was,
And is the same thing, is the same correlation for on or off ice improvement to on ice improvement?
See, that's where it gets hard because, like, if you're saying on ice improvement, are you just talking about speed? Because I wouldn't necessarily say, like, just because you get faster necessarily means you're going to score more, right?
Yeah, if you still have shit hands and you can't handle a puck, I mean, it doesn't really matter how fast you are.
Yeah, and it depends a little bit on, like, hey, but you're on the 4th line, you don't play as near as much compared to, like, a guy that's on 1st or 2nd line. I would say like that having that extra speed is definitely it's not gonna be a bad thing, I don't think by any means, but do you have the opportunity to express it is the next piece of the puzzle. And like it is such a skill based sport. Like if you can't skate or if you can't stick handle, like sorry, it isn't gonna matter. You could be the biggest, strongest kid out there, but if you can skate well, that's great. But then if you can't stick handle at all, like you ain't gonna score. I'd rather almost take a guy that can probably stick handle and move laterally on the ice more than a guy that's north to south or
if you can skate and stick handle but you can't shoot, well,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to score.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to put all the aspects together from a skill perspective.
And so with the sport, so this is something that I think a lot of coaches struggle with. In a sport that is so skill based, how do you make them value non-skill based stuff? You know what I mean? Like, because baseball is the same world. Like baseball, I mean, obviously there's a little bit more if you can get your outputs up, your outputs on the field are going to be good. But like the baseball world struggles with this too, where like if you can't hit the ball, it doesn't matter how fucking big and strong you are, right? So like then their only emphasis in training and the only thing these athletes do, and you can't really fault them for it, is they only do skill work and their strength conditioning work sucks ass. So like how do you talk these athletes into valuing these things when we are also saying if you're not skilled, none of this matters? You know what I mean? Like you have to get them to a point in understanding, okay, you are skilled, bringing these things up is going to matter. But like how do you battle that like kind of culture?
I think with like hockey as a collective culture, it is very much like workhorse, like work harder is always better. Now that you do have guys that absolutely hate the weight room and they're just not going to want to do any of like the speed work, the lifting or anything like that. And there's like, I just want to skate. Like the best one is like, I don't jump on the ice. Why do I need to improve my vertical jump? Like,
yeah. What do you say to that?
It's a physical quality we all should be able to do. Yes, you jump 12 inches. We probably can improve that. This is probably going to help your overall physical ability, which will probably translate to the ice. Just because like we're not explosive, like that's where I would say is like getting people to understand like yes, we're not on the same like hey, the weight room isn't that ice sheet, but there are qualities that will translate to the ice. Now, is it gonna be as specific as like I'm not gonna come out here and do stick handling drills with them? That's not my thing. Have I gotten better at
actually?
We did do some stuff with that this summer to fuck around.
We tried like a stick handling goat drill this summer. It was great.
We did try some visual work with the stick handling. I think it worked well.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. The one with the goalies was actually good. So I interned at St. Thomas last year working under Corey Peterson, and he's like super into visual training and tracking memory, all that stuff. So he developed this like video of colors with numbers in them, and so we started off just 4 colors on the screen, so like red, blue, green, yellow, and I put 4 cones in front of the goalies, and then as it changes, they have to match the cones. Um, so it kind of goes into like read, react, and execute.
And you noticed the difference? It was good.
I mean, it was just something more so to make them rest in between lifts without kind of playing around.
Yeah, but
keep them locked in.
Yeah, but you saw the guys that like even like when we play games, like especially between like the college and pro guys, like it's crazy that the pro guys like if we're just gonna use soccer terms for example, like just the way that the pro guys can move and do that game compared to like the college guys, and the college guys are way more physically talent. I would argue like output wise better.
Yeah, like I mean, if you watch the college lifts, you're like, holy shit, these guys are getting after it. You watch the pro lifts, some days they really get after it, and some days you're like, all right, they can put more weight on the bar.
Yeah. Or give me a little bit more effort on a sprint or something like that. But then you watch them play any game, they move so much better and see things so much faster than any of the college guys. And it's like, okay, maybe the college guys do need to spend more time on some skill work. Maybe the pro guys need to spend more time just general strength. And I think the more I've worked with pro guys, the more I realize, okay, they can be super general compared to maybe the college guys need to be a little bit more specific because their outputs are actually higher. And maybe the pro guys have that output, but they're just not caring. Like we have one guy that he is an absolute freak when he wants to be. And he's making millions of dollars.
And he's good at everything.
Like
literally
everything.
everything.
He's top five in the gym. He's not even trying.
So when you just said that, like the hockey season is basically 82 football games, skill work's so important. During this off season, you're already beat up. How do you balance in like actually practicing and playing hockey and that like actual skill work? Because I can't think of many other sports where you would take like a full 3 or 4 months off. So how do you mix that in with the outputs?
I think having the whole facility together, like we have a rink literally right outside the office, and we have a shooting cage in the weight room. So like it's right there. I mean, they always have their sticks and gloves. They could always go shoot, and I mean they've got the little passer. Passer. So they could go like stick handle right there. It's not a ton of effort. It's not like super high stimulus or
it's like
very
shooting
fatiguing.
It's like shooting free throws.
Yeah. And then like later on in the summer, we get the pro 3v3 going, so they're actually like playing games against one another, competing.
Yeah, like I would say, like we don't control any of their like skating stuff. Like me and Brian don't control any of their skating, when they skate, where they skate, or anything like that. We do have skating coaches here that do work with a lot of our clients. Usually they'll skate with us twice a week, and then they have like 1 3-on-3 day. It's a ton of skill work. It's not any actual physical contact in the sense of guys aren't checking each other in the boards. Now, college group did get a little chippy this summer and might have got kicked out a couple
times. College group ended a week early.
Yeah, college group ended a week early because we got a little bit too physical. But like the pro guys know when they kind of need to adapt, like pick it up the conditioning, pick up the skating. Usually like the first month, guys won't really skate much from the conversation I've had with pro guys. And some of them might ask my opinion. I was like, yeah, take at least 2 weeks off of like not being on your skates. If you want to stick handle and shoot stuff like that, that's fine. But you definitely need some time off, especially depending on how late you win in the playoffs. But yeah, usually right around 4th of July, when guys are like, oh, I better start picking up my skating, or if I haven't skated yet, I need to start skating because I'm going to be leaving and stuff like that in like next month and a half.
But it's kind of funny you guys mentioned the difference between the college group and the pro group too, because it's something that I think about in the football world. It's almost like when you know you're not skilled enough, instead of like going to become more skilled, because becoming more skilled is significantly like it's difficult. So, like I would much rather an athlete be skilled and I can get them bigger, faster, stronger. It's so much easier to get an athlete bigger, faster, stronger than to get an athlete more skilled. There's so much more nuance. There's so much less like things you can measure to like actually see if it's working and like the drills, and it's just a long-term process there. So then it's kind of like this self-affirming thing that athletes do of like just doubling down on their strengths. So like you have this athlete, these college athletes that know they're not as skilled as the pro guys. So what is their solution? Their solution is double down on the physical development of it. Whereas the pro guys know they don't have to do it, and they don't have to be as physically developed because skill wise they can kind of get away with that. And I think that's one of the cool processes of like when you get to work with such a wide range of athletes, you get to see kind of, okay, how do you stay on the ice, right? Like, what is your skill set that keeps you on the ice? Can we keep that skill set while growing these other skill sets that maybe don't just keep you on the ice, but like move you up a line or move you up a division? And that's, I think, kind of the beauty and the art that is strength conditioning, is looking at those individual things and looking at the individual skill sets that that athlete has and trying to build on them. Because I think you're so right. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's as simple as like a kind of like offensive linemen and defensive linemen are very, it happens a lot in football where a skilled athletic offensive lineman usually is not as strong as the like when we were at St. Thomas anyways, like we would have absolute beefcakes in the weight room, dude, like benching 400 pounds. Those dudes were never the dudes that started because, and it's not because it was like strength is taking away from anything. It was just that they realize the only way for them to stay on the field because they don't know how to develop their skills. And I think this is a coaching development issue that we have in the American like culture that we have, is we don't really know how to develop those skills. We do know how to develop strength and power. So that athlete that doesn't know how to stay on the field other than having a strength and power input, they will just double down on those things because they don't know how to go develop skills.
Yeah, I'd agree with that 1000%. Like, it's just so funny because like you said, like double down on skill, like, and there's different what keeps them on the ice, right? Like, there's definitely guys that train here that they know what will keep them in like the NHL, which is like no hungry league and not getting bumped down. They stay on the same line. They know exactly what they need to do to stay where they're currently at. Like, I think one of our players just signed an extension, and he's, I would say, one of the best fourth liners in the like league. But he's like not skilled enough to crack the top two lines, but he's like a third, fourth liner. But he's so good on the fourth line because he's a veteran, and he's so good on faceoffs, and he's so smart. But he's definitely not like the most physically, I guess, speed wise, like he's not the fastest skater, but he's so smart, and he's actually really skilled. He's almost like too methodical. At least that's what my impression was of him when I first met him. He's almost too like analytical. But it's crazy to see his progress because he's improved. I want to say in his sprints, like he's improved from like, if we were looking at like a 20-yard dash, he's went from like a 2.95 to like a 2.8 in the last 3 years, which is very little in the grand scheme of things. But like considering where he was, it's crazy. Even his vertical jump on the force plate, that.
I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about. Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how much like, but he also like knows his body really well, and he does invest into the training. Like, he understands how good it is, like how important it is to do. So he takes care of himself. Like, he's a guy like, hey, the pros have recovery on Wednesday. He doesn't come in on Wednesdays because he has kids and stuff like that. So he spends that day with his kids. But I don't have to worry about him. There's other pro players that I'm like, they're not come in. Well, okay, why didn't they come in? Oh, they're golfing or they're hungover. Okay, maybe I should give them something to do. Those I don't have to worry about.
When you were talking about the change in the athletes not doing the games to now you can't get them to stop doing the games, what was the difference there? Because I think that's something that a lot of strength coaches, when they try to shift their culture to more of like fun warm-ups and doing this, like when an athlete's not used to it and they don't, like, you're not a good enough communicator and you can't, like, I don't know if it's like you don't fully believe in it just yet, but like the athletes kind of smell that and they know you don't know why we're doing the games fully. So they don't know why they're doing the games fully. So then they think they're wasting time and you have to deal with that like bullshit with those athletes. And then once you get them past that mark of them understanding why this is enjoyable, what this does for them, then you can't get them to stop. I've seen that so many times, especially when I'm working with like a new team. When we're first doing a lot of the movement-based stuff that we're doing, the first 1 or 2 weeks is like pulling teeth to get them to do it. And then once you get that like buy-in with them, then you can't get them to stop, like you were saying. What was your guys' process to kind of change the culture at Velo around these things?
Um, You've been here forever. You can speak to that.
You can speak from year to year.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. It's weird because like we haven't really gotten anyone new in the sense of since I've been here. Like there's been a couple new guys here or there, but like they've kind of just like fit in with the culture. They get along with all the other pro guys. There hasn't really been any issues or like drastic changes that I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe it's because like initially my first summer, like the pro guys didn't know me. I was like the new director on staff. Like they didn't maybe trust me fully, and now like the next year they kind of trusted me a little bit better. From that regard, they don't like playing spike ball with me. They have determined they don't like playing spike ball.
Nobody likes playing spike ball with you, Welty.
Welty wins.
Bro,
Yeah.
Welty has so many made up rules. It's the most ridiculous game in the world.
They're not made up.
They're not made up. Right?
Yeah, no, they're real. I'd say like as far as the pro group goes, because I think that's the group we've seen like the biggest change in as far as the games. Last year I don't really remember soccer tennis being like nearly as big as it was, and then we started playing it like toward the end of the summer. That turned to like every day toward the end of the summer last summer, but it still wasn't as competitive. And then this year, I think what upped the ante was, well, one, we were told we couldn't play it. But, so, you know, they immediately just, that made them want to more. But they formed permanent teams. So we had Monstars and Space Jam. And, like, it was the same teams every day. And the record was written up on the board. It got like so serious that at the end of the year, well, one, there was group chats, but at the end of the year, I made awards, gave a whole speech. Shout out ChatGPT, and yeah, we gave him like MVP, like comeback player of the year. It was hilarious. But like it got so serious. It was like I think the end.
You realize they were betting on this, right?
I didn't know they were gambling on it, but the yeah, maybe edit that part out. But I think the end of the year is like 54-51. Yeah. Like they played 105 games of soccer tennis, and they kept score and track every single day, and that just drove right into the next day.
Yeah, dude, that's kind of fucking sick because I mean it's everything we kind of talk about of like just finding a way to make training a little bit like a video game and how wild like the human brain is wired to go win these stupid little like if you just make a leaderboard, you just make a point system, you can completely change the culture around a movement for whether it's a pro athlete or a high school athlete that is like never in the weight room. But I've seen it so many times. Dude, we made up random ass alpha points for a while at the gym where we just gave an alpha point to the person that held an ISO the longest or did a jump. Dude, these alpha points were redeemable for absolutely nothing other than you got to write a check mark next to your name on the board. And we went from dudes like bailing on ISOs 30 seconds in to holding for 7 minutes straight to go get a fucking imaginary alpha point. Like, it is crazy, like, the difference if you just give like 10% effort as a coach to gamify some of these things and video, like make it more like a video game for some of these things.
Yeah, it got to the point like guys would end the lift, grab all the boxes, and go set up the net in the shooting cage.
That was the best part.
And like start playing after the lift. So now they're just doing extra. And I mean, I'm not gonna stop them, but like we're not asking them to do anything more. They're just like, yo, boys, like you guys got anything to do?
They would have conditioning.
That was toward the end of the summer. They would sub conditioning for soccer tennis, and every point they would do 10 burpees or 10 whatever.
Bro, that's kind of sick. You guys started an addiction over there.
Yeah. And we even had guys who would like, yo, I can't make the lift today, but I'll be in early so I could get my games of soccer tennis in, and then I'm leaving. Like,
They would warm up and play soccer tennis and then leave.
Yeah, or like, hey, I have a skate, but I'm coming to play soccer tennis and leave like before skate.
Oh, that's kind of legendary. All right, give me the rules of soccer tennis. Well, what is this game that everybody's so addicted to?
Like, I personally hate the game.
Okay, so
I suck at the game.
The gist of it is volleyball or like spike ball with bounces. So
it's your game, Austin.
3 touches, 3 bounces. You have to get it back over the net. They did introduce like the block rule, so if you run up to the net and block, you still have a touch.
That's a very controversial topic.
Yeah, there is no meg rule. They don't have the meg rule.
We don't have the meg rule in that game.
In that game. Besides that, like off the turf is out of bounds.
Wall does not reset bounces.
Yeah. And then the other rule is try not to break anything.
Yeah.
Which
broken something?
That rule got broke.
Well, kind of. Well, yeah, we did. I almost forgot
that rule got very broken.
I almost forgot that.
Yeah, we lost a window.
We lost a window.
Well, on the flip side of that, you just talked about how like egregious and like aggressive the college and pro players are, but you have a bunch of youth athletes as well. So how do you work on when like somebody is going to be that youth athlete? Like you are at a point in your life where everyone's going to be at completely different stages of puberty, different stages of development just naturally and the skill wise. So like you're trying to improve physical capabilities and skills at the same time. You don't have that veteran, you don't have a veteran 7th grader per se. So like how do you actually get them going?
I'd say just like seeing Nate do it, because I never thought to play spike ball with bounces, but like he actually does a great job. And like it's like opened my mind to how to regress games to make it like to where everybody can play and it can still be hyper competitive. Like we played handball in here, set up the boxes as nets, and then it's like now there's a 3 pass rule, so everybody has to get a touch basically before you can shoot and score. So like that's one thing I could speak to that I've seen.
Yeah, even with the youth kids, like is definitely trying to find a game that one involves everyone, but it's like you also have to think of things that also like that they can pick up pretty quickly, where it's not too complicated. We've played spike ball.
Spike ball is not a game.
Yeah, spike ball is not a game to play with a bunch of 11-year-olds. Doesn't work very well.
Well, that kind of point there, Welty, too, is it's like you, especially with a lesser skilled athlete, like the goal is not to play, especially when you're warming up, is not to play this super high skilled, high competitive game. The goal is to get volleys and rallies. And like, it doesn't matter what you do to create a game that gets like, give them fucking 5 hits to do it. Have every single person have to touch the ball. I don't care. When we are warming up, volleys and rallies are what gets people engaged in this stuff, dude. And then from there, if they are getting volleys and rallies and they're getting a bunch of touches, they're going to get more skilled at some of these games, and then you can up the ante there. But I think so many coaches, they just like, they pick a lot of like super, or they stick with a lot of like spike ball for a lot of athletes is too skilled of a sport to like do any. And then they're like, well, spike ball sucks as warm up. It's like, no, you suck at spike ball. That's why spike ball sucks as a warm up for you. That's why we went to the mats. Like when we play at our gym, you play with this like flat mat, so it's the easiest thing in the world to hit. So you can get volleys and you get these athletes moving for 15 minutes rather than chasing down a ball because nobody can hit the fucking net for 15 minutes.
You get rid of the gentleman serve. I'm sick of the gentleman serve and spike ball at your gym. It needs to go away.
Welty, the non-gentleman serve is one of my biggest beefs with Velo ball. One of my biggest beefs. There's no volleys. There's no volleys. It's just whoever spikes it harder off of the net gets to score a point.
Nick calls me out on it all the time. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Nick. You're actually
all right. Coming off of games, you guys are nerds about force plates. Tell me about the force plates. What are you guys doing with the force plates? How are you guys working there? Tristan has a big background in a lot of this stuff too, so he'll be able to dive in. But like, what's your force plate method? And you guys have a bunch of like technology, a lot of really cool technology. How are you guys using this? How are you guys implementing this with the athletes? And what do you like take from this that is like actually applicable to training your athletes, where it's not just a bunch of random numbers?
I want to add something onto that quick too. Like, what would you say? I know the sports specific term gets thrown around, but like, what would you do differently for hockey athletes compared to just like the normal battery of tests, or is it kind of that normal battery of tests, like the isometric mid thigh pull, this hands-on hips counter movement jump, the hip internal like abduction adduction, or do you guys have specific ones that you've kind of pioneered and actually have gotten useful data from?
I would say we haven't really like battery of tests is like we do belt squat, which we actually register as isomet thigh pull. We did it by accident last year, so we just kept it as that so we can keep the same data over time. Counter movement jump on the force plate. We do a 20-yard dash, a 10-yard start, and then also a 5 build, 10 fly. We did that one this year because of space reasons at the new facility.
I'd say the one we added in and like used a lot more this year that I think correlated a bit to on ice was the 5-10-5 with the timing gates.
So yeah, we did do a change direction one.
We definitely tracked that a lot more this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'd say it's like the normal battery of tests that you just described, like isomet thigh pull, counter movement jump. I think last year we tried doing a squat jump, like static.
Then we tried bench press.
Oh, and then we tried the bench press overcoming. That was just a fun test. We did it once.
Yeah, because no one can beat you in the gym.
Yeah, well, that happened. And then, yeah, like Nate mentioned, the sprints, but it's more of like constant tracking rather than looking and being like, hey, we need to raise this specific metric up. I'd say last summer, I was like head first into force plates. I had to present on them for my internship over at St. Thomas, and they were using Hawken, and we have balled here. So I was trying to translate between the metrics and actually talk to like the Vald rep for us, and he was like, have you published this? I was like, no, dude, like, I don't even know if it's right. Like, there's so much discrepancy between the two. But yeah, I'd say we're more so just like monitoring constantly and seeing trends. Like, is our trend line actually going up or are we just going down?
Yeah.
So with that, because that is like I feel like one of the main key points that people talk about force plates. Like, oh yeah, fatigue monitoring. But how do you get athletes to actually kind of give it that all and take it serious? Because I know that's a common problem in athletes. Like, if we're going to jump them every day and do this every day to monitor their fatigue and readiness, if they're not actually giving it their all, it's kind of a useless metric because if they're just varying their level of intensity just depending on how they feel, you're going to get numbers that are just kind of all over the place versus any sort of real trends. How do you get them to like actually buy into what you're doing for those tracking metrics?
I think at least among the college guys, which is probably the majority of our groups, we only have one pro group in the mornings, even though it's like 20 guys. But like
next year,
college, we have like somewhere between 40 to 60 guys. Yeah. It's just such a hyper competitive atmosphere. Like they are talking shit as soon as they beat, their buddy on the jump. Like, oh, I got 0.1 better than you. You suck. Like instantly, like you suck. You're unathletic. Like, and then you got that guy who just got beat immediately. Like, no, I want to retest.
I want to run again.
There is some like balance there, being like, no, you've literally jumped 7 times today. You're done. Like we have to cut them off sometimes. But yeah, I think it's definitely like just a hyper competitive atmosphere, and that kind of is a theme here. As far as the pro guys go with soccer, tennis, and then the college guys go with the lifts.
The pro guys got a little bit more competitive this year. I would say
definitely in sprints. I will say the pro guys got more competitive. They still don't care nearly as much about the force plate. They're like, what I say. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Awesome.
We'll have like 1 or 2 guys who are like, yeah, and then like everybody else is like, what happened? I jumped 0.3 higher. Oh, good job.
What's the metric?
What was
I was
that?
gonna say, what's the metric that you like generally track? If you had to pick one, like what would you say? Obviously time in the sprints, but like on a force plate, like what's your metric that you pick?
we have 8.
Yeah, we made a dashboard last year that it was about 8, but it was I'd say the biggest ones are eccentric, concentric duration, and then how jump height is corresponding with that. So are you jumping really high, but you're taking forever? Because then your jump height doesn't really matter to me. Or are you like a spring, like you just boom, and now you're jumping 19. And then the other ones that go along with that are like eccentric, peak force or peak power? What did we look at?
We looked at eccentric peak force and
concentric peak force.
Yeah.
We got into like counter movement depth. We'll look at it a little bit if like a guy jumps really bad, and take a look and be like, oh, he's clearly fatigued. Like normally he goes down, 36 centimeters. Today he went down 42, and he was way slower and he didn't jump as high. Then like, all right, dude, what'd you do all weekend?
Yeah.
Or what'd you do yesterday? Oh, I had 3 skates. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
We'll also look at it depending on like what we're doing too. Like if we're doing a lot of like reactive work, like we'll kind of expect guys like counter movement depth to be shallower just because of the training maybe we've done the last 2 weeks is a lot shallower in the angles anyways. So I would expect most guys to do it. Now there are natural tendencies for everyone, but like those definitely change over time, I would say. Like just looking at the force time curves of everyone, like from beginning of summer when guys didn't really train, end of off season, or didn't train at all, like they took the whole month off, like their curve is so like long and not as sharp compared to like when they leave, it becomes so much tighter. Yeah, that's kind of also what we look at, I would say.
Then with that reactivity, obviously RSI is like
Yeah.
an easy one to just get a quick snapshot of, all right, is he getting more reactive? And we're in like a speed phase.
Do you guys have any specific like case studies of like an athlete that this has definitely helped with, or that you made an adjustment with that they're like, okay, thank you for doing that?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. We had a kid last year that I'm pretty sure I presented his data
You did.
without his name.
You did.
Because I
No, you
needed
put
an
his name in it.
example. No, I didn't.
I did.
I blocked his name out. It's good for him. I needed an example of somebody who was like above average in all the metrics. That wasn't him. And then somebody who was below average in all the metrics. He was that guy. And I mean, like, I'm talking like
I don't know how
he's working his ass off and he's jumping like 11.9, like 12. I mean, that's
as a 17-year-old.
Yeah, like he's playing juniors.
Welty, you're doing that as a 32-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone, thank you very much.
I'd say like that's what we see in like our trained high school girls or like our untrained like freshman high school boys are jumping like 11.9, 12. And this year he's, I mean, average or above average in like every single metric. Like, and his speed, you notice it in his sprints too.
That was
like
a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to post his results, somebody would be like, no, this is bullshit. Like,
was it a change in programming, or was it strictly just like the rank record published of like exposing him to like, hey, dude, you suck as an athlete. You need to get better.
Well, I think I don't know if he knew, but he knew he wasn't where everybody else was.
Yeah.
Last summer, and I mean, this summer he came in a little
better spot.
Yeah, a little better spot. But I mean, just like the percentage of change throughout the summer, I think it was just he was super consistent. As far as training and skill work was there. Like he was doing everything right, it seemed like, and he got the results out of it. So
yeah, and then
that was a cool change.
And then we had a guy that came in already like in the college group already fast. Like he was already top 3.
Yeah,
top 3, including the pro guys too.
And I don't know if he was 3.
Yeah, I don't know.
Might have been like top 2.
He might have been top 2. He might have only lost to one person. I don't know how he improved. That was crazy.
Yeah, he got somehow a lot faster, and I don't know about his jump data.
His jump data basically stayed the same all summer.
But was that on ice or running?
Running. He did. He wasn't here the second time we did the on ice testing. He was here the first time. He was second on the 20-yard dash. He was second on the fly, and no, he was first on the 20, second on the fly,
and second in the 5-10-5. And there was one guy he lost to on like the fly, who's the guy he's usually neck and neck with in sprints. And the guy that ran or skated the fastest hit 23 miles an hour on the small sheet, which is crazy because you can look up NHL stats throughout the year, and last year's fastest time during game was 23.5, and this kid isn't even in
He's not even in college.
He's not even in college yet. And I'm just like, okay, what did it cost? This 5 wasn't
107.
Yeah.
107, 5 plus 10.
Yes, 107, 5 plus 10, Austin. There's your next challenge.
Damn.
It was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting to watch. Like, I think somebody beat him, or
someone beat him.
Yeah, somebody beat him, and he was like, "Oh, all right, bet." Like, he was done, and he was like, "Oh, all right, bet," and he just lines up 107, and he's like, "Yeah." It's like, that's, I mean, it just goes back to like that hyper competitive culture that I was talking about. Like, the college guys just shit talk each other into glory,
into sucking less.
Yeah, like, it's awesome.
Doesn't look pretty at all. Like, it's not mechanically sound at all. All these guys run like shit.
Dude, that's Welty. Every time Welty gets beat in anything, it's all just like, oh, it doesn't look good though, so it doesn't count. Like, bro.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I ran a 1.6, but it looked good, right?
All right, last question for you guys before you guys have to head out. And what group do you guys have?
High school open. So
high school open. Nice. Bunch of little shitters.
Oh, we have youth today.
Focus up, Welty.
Rocco.
With hockey guys, you hear it a lot talking about the groin, the hips, tightness, injuries, all of that type of stuff because of what they're required to do on the ice. How do you guys approach that in your training? How do you take care of that stuff? And maybe you think everybody should be doing it in their programs and they're just not, but maybe some hockey specific type hip stuff that you guys are doing with these athletes that has helped some of that stuff.
I wouldn't say like you could say it's hockey specific because I think
I agree.
Groins are important for almost every sport. We do hit groins a ton, and I think that's just because like you hear about all groin strains, stuff like that. Guys probably hate the amount of Copenhagens they do throughout the week or variations of Copenhagen. Yeah. They do. We try
to just building up
isometrics
there. Like, are you loading them? Like, do you guys have like standards for that type of stuff? How are you guys building out the hip program?
I wouldn't say we have any like standards. I would say if we write like 30-second Copenhagens, almost everyone now will load it up. Whether it be now we only have chains, we don't have any sandbags, but they'll typically load it up with chains. I would say anywhere from 20 to 40 pounds of chain on their hip, and they'll hold it for 30 seconds. I guess, and we try to implement more like deep range of motion, like range of strength stuff, like Austin, like stuff you do at your gym. We try to do a little bit more of that this summer. Ton of hip flexor work, just because like a lot of guys' hip flexors aren't very strong, especially in a lengthened position, I would say.
I think another thing we do is like a lot of dynamic groin work. So like everybody loves to run to the Copenhagen, but like doing something fast where you're pulling, like whether it be the Kaiser or like a banded adduction OC or internal rotation, external rotation OC with a band. So like actually moving fast like they're going to in their sport rather than just, I mean, holding that position's great and building up that Copenhagen's awesome, but as soon as you move, is that going to hold up?
And when you guys are building out like a program around that, is it slow to fast? Is it concurrently like kind of touching on all these components in a weekly program?
I would say it began in summer. It's like slow, right?
Yep.
Program, but there's definitely days throughout maybe end of summer where it's like, oh, hey.
Sorry, you kind of cut off.
Did you just stop mid-sentence there, Welty?
I did.
The internet connection is unstable, so you kind of cut out and they got a little lost.
He just blanked out with his internet connection, bro.
The Neuralink shut off in his head.
Welty's powered by his Wi-Fi, bro.
As far as building it out throughout the off season, I'd say it's kind of we go ISOs first, be able to hold that position, and then like slow dynamic, and then once we
What's
get
slow
to like
dynamic?
speed,
What, like, explain some of this stuff, just because I think the hips are something like when we look at each other's programs, we see a lot of the stuff, but I think when you look at a traditional strength conditioning program, especially when it comes to hips, it's like lateral lunges is the only thing people are
It's
programming.
neglected. It is
Dude,
neglected.
highly neglected. Like it is literally some of the stuff dude, some groin sliders are like revolutionary to the hip world when it comes to training. And then you look at our programs and like I would say, I don't know, what would you say? Like almost all of our accessories when it comes to a lower body day are targeting the hips and doing some sort of motion like that. So like what are some of these exercises you can give to coaches that don't know how to train the hips?
Well, when I went to Revolutions of Speed, Corfus was there. That was down in South Carolina. And so he talked about the 2-minute side plank and that his athletes are able to hold, there's like 4 different positions of side plank. And like you have to hit 2 minutes on like the regular one. Then you go knee up, knee behind, like arm across. He had like so many variations. But we started integrating the excessively long side plank or clamshell if you can't do that. As far as what's like the dynamic look like, start probably with like eccentrics, just like literally loaded Copenhagen dips. A lot of internal, external rotation. I think people don't think about loading that enough, or like just holding isos in the in range.
I think the drop catches.
Drop catches.
Where like guys that like actually being able to like understand of how to like if you're just in a Copenhagen of understand like how to like drop and like as soon as you hit try to rebound back up. Like so many guys like will go from just a standard Copenhagen to that. They're like, oh my groin, like they've never moved like that in a long time, or like they don't understand like how similar that is to like the forces they might experience out on the ice. And guys are like, usually if they haven't done drop catch Copenhagens in a long time, I would say it gets them pretty sore.
Yeah, and then like going back to the beginning of the off season and back to Mito, hips like that. Those are probably the worst 2 exercises in the entire Mito block. Is overcoming groin into some type of dynamic groin or isokinetic groin work. Like we do Kaiser pulls with a straight leg, and then overcoming like abduction into the wall, and then you do ankle weighted abduction on sideways on the ground. That one's absolutely brutal. And that's a great introductory point to like dynamic movement. They're having to control through that full range of motion and sit there and stay in the fire. And then with the overcoming ISO, you're getting all the fast twitch muscles in the hips.
Fuck yeah, boys. Tristan, you got anything else for him?
That's all I got.
Hell yeah, boys. Appreciate you guys coming on. Brian, happy birthday, soldier.
Thank you.
When are you back? Monday?
What?
You back Monday?
After session on Monday. I don't think we're going to have session on Monday.
Dude, I won't wake up then.
Awesome. You ready for the 19th, dude? I'm going to be there.
Yes, bro. I think Harley might be in town around that time too. So is the wife coming with?
Oh yeah. I said you better get ready. She literally
is she coming to game day?
Well, so is Monday game day?
No, Thursday. Are you only there Monday? I thought you were there for the week.
So no, I'm gonna be there. We'll get in Friday, and so I'm there. We actually prolonged the trip for a day, so we don't fly out till afternoon on Monday.
Fuck yeah, dude! Hell yeah! All right, appreciate you guys listening. Keep chopping wood.
Thank you for listening. Join us next week as we dive down another rabbit hole. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star rating. Follow us on Instagram at Austin Yoakum to stay updated on future podcast guests. Keep chopping wood.